Hello everyone. Welcome to Paws and Practice. Today we are going to discuss a very important concern of pet owners. What is the right time for mating your dog? You must have the knowledge about 4 phases of dog's heat cycle. We have discussed about 4 phases of dog's heat cycle in our previous video. Link is given in description below. Moving forward, there are various ways to determine best time for mating, such as vaginal cytology, serum progesterone level, luteinizing hormone LH peak, vaginoscopy. Vaginal cytology. Vaginal cytology is the microscopic examination of the cells from vaginal epithelium. It helps to differentiate different stages of dog estrus cycle. Because during estrus cycle, vaginal epithelium undergoes certain changes. Let's move into technique of vaginal cytology and its interpretation. Technique of canine vaginal cytology. Step 1. Moisten a cotton swab with 1 to 2 drops sterile saline. Open the vulvar lips, pull the vulva dorsally, insert the swab dorsally and posterior, then up and over the pelvic brim and into anterior vagina. If you do not pass the swab far enough, you will get vestibular cells and result in false cornification. If you pass the swab too ventral, you may enter the bladder and get a falsely non-cornified smear. Step 2. Roll the swab firmly onto a slide. Step 3. Stain the slide using Diff Quick Stain, 10 dips in A, 15 dips in B, and 20 dips in C. You may also use new methylene blue stain. Step 4. Read the slide under low power first to establish the trend of cellularity and cell types. Move to a higher power to establish the cell types. View several fields to get an overall visual idea of the percentage of cornified cells. Vaginal cytology cell types. There are 4 major cell types during interpretation: parabasal cells, intermediate cells, superficial cells, enuclear cells. Parabasal cells. Parabasal cells have a large stippled nucleus and a rounded cytoplasm. The nucleus is large compared to the cytoplasm. Intermediate cells. Intermediate cells have a stippled nucleus and more cytoplasm than parabasal cells. The cytoplasm may even become angular. Superficial cells. Superficial cells have a pycnotic nucleus and angular cytoplasm. There is no stippling in the nucleus. Enuclear cells. Enuclear cells have no visible nucleus and angular cytoplasm. Parabasal cells and intermediate cells are non-cornified cells, whereas superficial cells and enuclear cells are cornified cells. Changes during the estrus cycle. When no estrogen is present, anestrus and diestrus, the vaginal wall is very thin and is comprised of non-cornified cells. In anestrus there will be very few cells, and what you see will be debris and non-cornified cells. When estrogen rises during proestrus, the vaginal epithelium becomes hyperplastic and more cornified. During proestrus, the percent of cornified cells increases by about 10% per day until you see about 100% cornification during estrus. You may also see RBCs during proestrus. Estrus phase. During estrus, the vaginal epithelium is very thick. You will see almost 100% cornification. The smear will look the same from the first day of estrus of the last day of estrus. You cannot tell which day of estrus the bitch is in based on vaginal cytology. There may, however, be some sheeting of cells during the last 1 to 2 days of estrus. The vaginal wall is so thick during estrus that PMNs do not cross the epithelium. This makes the background look very clean. Diestrus phase. On the first day of diestrus, the cells in the swab abruptly change to around 50% non-cornified. This day that the smear changes from 100% cornified cells to 50% non-cornified cells is denoted as the first day of cytologic diestrus. You may see an influx of PMNs at this time to help clean up all the cellular debris. What is vaginoscopy? Vaginoscopy is a procedure used in dogs for diagnostic purposes. It concerns the use of a scope to visualize the vaginal canal of female dogs. Progesterone test for dogs. A quantitative progesterone blood test is the single most accurate method for timing breedings. The test is reported as a numeric result, usually nanogram per deciliter. A progesterone test in dogs combined with observing the behavior of the dog and bitch, vaginal cytology, ovulation can be pinpointed with great accuracy in most bitches. At the time of estrus. Vaginal cytologic examination. Imprecise indicator of fertile period. Cornification of vaginal epithelium with clear background usually coincides with sexual receptivity. Vaginoscopy. On vaginoscopy, edematous vaginal folds will appear until LH peak, then vagina become pale with slight wrinkling, crenellation, as edema decreases with estradiol decline. Progesterone levels. Progesterone levels increase closely associated with LH peak. Luteinizing hormone, LH, controls ovulation. LH peaks on same day or after full cornification is observed. Ovulation occurs approximately 2 days after peak. 2 to 3 days, 54–72 hours, more required for oocyte maturation. Mature oocytes viable for minimum 2 to 3 days. Thus, fertile period is 4 to 8 days after LH peak and maximum fertility is 5 to 6 days after LH peak. As conclusive, the most appropriate time of breeding is 5 to 6 days after LH peak. I hope you have learned valuable techniques through this video. Please subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.